So question number one is tell me a
Mm.
little bit about yourself and like include, both your experience with boxing as well as just like more about you as a person in general, kind of what you're about.
Okay, yeah. My experience in boxing, I've been doing it since I was 5. I got into it as a kid. I got into karate as a kid because I was picked on and I wanted to kind of be a little bit tougher. What it got me into boxing specifically is that I actually have a long line of boxers in my family. My father did boxing. He wasn't a professional or anything, but he did it. And then I have professional boxers down my lineage. I have there was a army trophy, military trophy, and I think it's both my uncle and my great uncle's names are engraved on it. I've seen that, and then I have a poster of my great uncle, I believe, who was a boxer, and he's kind of big on the kind of plastered on the main event of the poster. So boxing specifically is something that kind of runs in my family, and so yeah, I've been doing that since I was 5. I got into it. I got really into it, and I eventually transitioned from karate because karate was a little too easy for me. I
Oh,
don't like the point.
interesting.
No,
Interesting.
I don't. I'm not a big fan of typical karate, especially with point fighting. The way they point fight. Do you know much about karate? I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
how
I
much you
know a
know.
decent amount, but
Okay,
it sounds like
so
you
do you
know
know
even
do
more.
you so you know non do you know non-contact karate? Do you know how that works?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, I do not like that. I think that is best used as a training exercise and nothing else. So from
Yeah.
there, I transitioned on to Muay Thai, actually, which is another
Ye-
uh,
Thai
martial.
boxing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, another martial art that really is close to my heart, and that was brutal. But around the age of 10, I wanted to compete, and there's no such thing as amateur Muay Thai, and you can't turn pro at the age of 10.
Really?
So yeah, so I transferred over into Olympic style boxing, and I've been doing that ever since. In terms of accolades, in terms of pure Olympic boxing accolades, I am a level 3 certified boxing coach, which means I can coach at a national level. I do
Oh
plan
my.
to get my level 4, but you need to have a university degree for that, which I do. So I plan to eventually, when they plan to offer, and I don't know when they ever will, because boxing organizations are corrupt as all hell. I have stories of how difficult it was for me to get my level 3. I had to fly to a different province just to take the tests for it because they just weren't offering it in my province. But yeah, my level 4 would allow me to coach at a Olympic level. Currently, I can coach at a national level. I am a certified boxing official, meaning I can officiate matches, which means I can judge matches. I can be one of those guys sitting on the side of the ring, kind of going, who's going to win the fight. I
That's
have,
so cool, dude. That is
yeah,
so cool.
I've trained martial arts in China. I have trained Muay Thai and boxing in Thailand. I have been all over the United States. I've been the main event in Hawaii multiple times, one of which was where I fought Hawaii state champion. I went to Puerto Vallarta in Mexico, and I don't know the state, but I sparred the state champion there. I've been to ringside multiple times. That's actually what this shirt is. I put it on because it's the closest thing to like old timey boxing in terms of a shirt that I have. So I'll
I
give you
was
a
gonna say I
kind of a
wish I had some apparel as well, but I have
yeah.
nothing boxing. So I was
So
like,
that this is
so
like a
you
brief kind this is like an old timey boxing shirt because it's meant to kind of symbolize that like old style of boxing. I have a lot to say about that too, the whole like this style of fighting. If you ever there's a reason for that, but I mean I don't think we have time to get into that here. But um yeah, there's a reason they fought like this. And it's but again, I think that's a story for another day.
for another day for
Um
sure. We'll get in.
yeah, but yeah, ringside. This was the world's largest amateur boxing tournament. It was held in Kansas City. It's no longer held in Kansas City. It doesn't exist anymore. Um, the reason why it faded away was because the convention center where they used to hold it changed owners, and the new owner of the convention center hiked up the price, and it was just not feasible to hold it anymore, which is really disappointing because ringside was a rite of passage in boxing, period. You had over 2,000 fighters from all over the world. You had people from Ireland, Africa, all over the States, Mexico, Canada, everywhere. People would fly to this thing, and they would have 6 rings going at one time. And you would, like, the way they would announce things, they would have evening or afternoon matches and evening matches. So you would sometimes fight at, say, 2 in the afternoon, or sometimes you'd be fighting at like 8 o'clock at night, depending on what bracket you ended up in. They'd be announcing things like, the winner of fight 3 in ring 6, and that's how they would announce it. And so you'd have like this hockey stadium with 6 rings at
Oh
once.
my
And
goodness.
it was this, and if you won, you got a belt. So it was this amazing rite of passage that I'm so glad I got to be a part of. Actually, originally too, if you signed up early enough, there was a T-shirt that they would like print out, and if you signed up early enough, you would get your name printed on the back of it. So I don't really have it on me right now, and I'd have to go looking for it. But I have like 2 or 3 T-shirts, like ringside shirts, that have my name on the back, along with, along with my brother. So yeah, like that's kind of what I've been doing in boxing in terms of that. That's my background in fighting and in boxing.
Oh
There's a
my
little bit
god.
more to it. I've trained in
Oh,
various
sure.
weapons over the years. Like, I've done things like basics of the sword, but like that's like very, very basic. Anyone with, the slightest bit more training could easily beat me with like fencing and shit. I've done, yeah, I'm trained in nunchucks. But my specialty
You trained in
is the
nunchucks.
bow,
Oh my god.
yeah, is the bow staff and dual batons.
You do
Um,
bow staff, man?
I
Jeez.
do bow staff. I do bow staff
Donatello
and then
and
dual baton.
Michelangelo out here.
Exactly. Actually, that is why I did it, was because of the Ninja Turtles, which is I love Michelangelo, which is why I wanted to learn how to use nunchucks. There's a lot of overlap between batons and nunchucks. The problem with nunchucks is you have a little bit less control over what you're doing, so you kind of have to be a little bit more conscious of what you're doing.
Right.
And then the dual batons and the bow staff actually was because of Robin from Teen Titans, and I just went well into it. And yes, I can do a bunch of tricks with the staff, and I can I know how to use the dual batons and stuff. So
Dude, in a future collab, we should for sure go over some of like inspiration, because you're talking about like Ninja Turtles and like Robin and stuff, and it's like that's kind of my thing with my channel is talking. Oh, there he is. Is
yeah.
talking about like how media, I guess, influences fitness in a way. Obviously, that's like my
Oh, of
shtick
course,
with the
yeah,
movies and stuff, and like
yeah,
it
yeah,
kind
of
of
course, of
seems
course.
faded because I was like, I'm gonna do Rocky eventually, and I think I did it sooner than I was planning to because I came across you through Greg's channel. I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I should totally get in touch with this guy, and if he wants to collaborate, like
Oh,
that
of
would be amazing because yeah,
course, no,
like
yeah, of course.
so then outside of the boxing experience, so then just also just you generally as a person, like
Hmm.
who really are you, and like what, especially with your channel too, like what do you set out to do and be, and like who do you want to project yourself as to the world?
Um, I don't know. I don't like boxing's a big part of who I am,
Yeah.
obviously.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
it again, I've spent most of my life in the gym. Like and that's something that I'd like to talk about at some point, is the sheer amount of sacrifice that it takes to do what I do, and the sheer amount of sacrifice in terms of everything. Like I've sacrificed literally thing to get to the top, and I mean everything was second to boxing. School, relationships, both platonic and romantic, mental, physical, and emotional health. I sacrificed everything to get to the top, and people don't truly understand what that means.
They
I
don't know.
No, and I currently train 6 days a week, and even on my rest days, I try to at least go for a walk or go for a light jog. Back when I was still competing, because again, we can't compete now, which really
No.
sucks. I miss sparring
Oh, dude, I
so
can't
much.
imagine what that's like for you. Yeah,
I miss
that's like
sparring so much.
yeah.
It's because but when I spar, when I box, that's when I feel alive. Like it's this amazing feeling of like you come alive. There's a sensation that washes over you, and it's just like this is what I love. But when I was competing, especially when I was in school, I was training 3 hours a day, right? 3 to 6 actually, depending
Oh
on whether or
my.
not it was a weekend or not. And I would get home at 5 o'clock, and I would be in bed by 9. So do the math. I would get home, I would train, and that would leave me with 1 hour to shower, eat, homework, and time for myself.
Oh
And like
my.
people do not understand the sheer amount of sacrifice it takes to do what I do. Um, like even just as simple as like, hey man, hey Paul, because I mentioned Paul and Brian in my thank you video. Hey Paul, I can't hang out with you this weekend. I'm hanging out with Brian this weekend because I haven't seen him in 2 weeks. I would literally have to pencil in my friends over the weekends because that's when I would have time to see them. If I wanted to do something, training came first. And when people talk about wanting to box, they do not because even people with like they do not understand that it is a constant thing, and it is something that it is all like, and this is something Rocky talks about too. It is you against you,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, nobody is going to do it for you. You do not have a
definitely
team
not.
behind you. You do have a team behind you, like you have your trainer, but when you step in, when you train, it is you against you. You do not have a team to help push you when you go to specific practices. I get up and I run every morning. I like to sleep in, so I get up around 9 and run around 9:30ish, right? but I force myself to do that every morning. It doesn't matter if it is plus 50 outside Celsius, which is, I think, are you in the States?
I am, yeah. So my dumb
Okay,
mind
so
doesn't understand Celsius.
yeah, so I think that's, yeah, here, I'll do a quick conversion if you want, just to give you an idea of actually like what would happen, because we do go from plus 50 to minus 50 Celsius where I'm from.
That's
So
like, oh my God.
so yeah, depending on the time of year, it gets super humid. Um
I'm in
I assume
Minnesota,
you
so
can
I'm
just
close to Canada. So we got right now it
okay.
is blustery cold.
So so plus 50 would be about 122 Fahrenheit. So we plus 50 is our extreme. So we'll go 40. We'll go 40 because we do get plus and minus 50, but average it out to 40. So plus 40. So plus 40 would be 104 Fahrenheit. I don't care if it's 104 Fahrenheit outside or minus 40 Fahrenheit. So it equals out. Minus 40 is the exact same in Fahrenheit as in Celsius. So yeah, I don't care if it's plus 40 or minus 40, which would be plus 104 to minus 40 outside. I run. If you go on my Instagram, you can see a picture of
I
me where
saw
I
that.
come
I
back.
saw it. I
Yeah,
saw that. I was
yeah.
gonna just mention
There
that. I saw you
was
coming in.
there was 70-kilometer-an-hour winds when I was running.
I'll
That's
pull that up right now. Show the
yeah,
people.
do it. Yeah, it was minus 32 degrees with wind chill with 70-kilometer-an-hour winds, and I do it because at the end of the day, when things get difficult, I think to myself,
Oh,
"Oh,
okay.
look at go to it. That was my story. Go to my post. There's a post.
The post.
There's a post about it. Go to my Instagram, and there's an actual post about it.
Oh, wait. Okay. Is it? I got one at -2 Celsius here. That's one of them. -21 Celsius. That's even crazier.
And that's actually and that was actually negative 31 or 32 if you look at my caption with wind chill, and the winds were up to 70 kilometers an hour.
Oh yeah, dude.
And
Yeah, it's 30 -31
yeah,
wind chill.
and so I do that, and I do that because the reason why, and there was one time where it was plus 40 degrees Celsius, and humid. So it's 104 and humid as hell. And when I talk about humid, I mean like it's hard to breathe. It's like running in a sauna. That is how humid it is. And when it gets difficult like that, goes through my head because I think back to this when I was running in that humid heat, because it was the sun. I ran at like, I would purposefully run at like 1 or 2 or noon or 1 o'clock where the sun was the highest, because of the difficulty, because it was like the sun's beating down on me, right? I'm running. I was running shirtless because you kind of like, I'm not running. Yeah. So, but I'm running, and there's no shade on my run at all. And I'm running 6 kilometers, which is roughly 4 miles. I think it comes out to like 3.75, 3.85, something like that. So roughly 4
I'm
miles.
glad you're good with the numbers because I wouldn't.
I've done the conversion a couple times because I've had this conversation with other YouTubers.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, but so I'm running, and on my way back, I'm starting to feel really tired. Like again, it's hard to breathe. Like, have you ever stepped into a steam room? That's what it's like outside. And I'm running 6 kilometers, all right, it's 4 miles. And I remember thinking to myself, like, you got to, like, maybe I could just stop and walk for a little bit. Like, I'm getting tired, right? And then and then there's this other voice that clicked, and it was just like, no, keep going. Why? Because there are boxers out there that are doing this with ease. And what happens if you step in the ring with this guy? There is always someone out there outworking you. If you stop now, how can you ever make it back into that ring? And so I kept going, and I finished it. I finished the run. I almost collapsed. I was holding myself up by my door frame. I went to go get a seltzer water in my fridge, and I drank half the can and spilled the other half all over myself. Like, it was bad, but I didn't stop. And people don't understand that kind of mentality, that you have it's not a matter of I want to, it's a matter of I have to. There have been times where my body was ready to give out, and I pushed past it, because at the end of the day, and this is something I plan to talk about on my channel, is this is the gladiator mentality. And it's not always the healthiest thing, but it's something that you need to have to do what I do at the top level.
Yeah,
and it's this,
at that
like,
point, for sure.
yeah, it's like you need to be willing to die.